Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by FPL expert FPLSalah to preview Game Week 31. Abdul, pleasure to have you back on the channel, my friend. Going to start things off by looking at your team from last week because you made some interesting transfers and you had a pretty good week, right?
Yeah, so I've done a 9 at -4. I took out Huang and Foden to Salah and Sarabia. I had Sarabia first on the bench. And the reason I done that was because I knew, firstly, I was going to take a hit for Salah either in game week 30 or 31. I was going to bring in Sarabia for his game week 34 fixture when Wolves double. So I just thought Brighton at home for Salah was a really good entry point, and Foden had Arsenal, which is one of the toughest fixtures of the season. So I just thought it made sense to do that move last week rather than this week. I actually broke even on that hit, right? Because Foden scored 3 and Salah scored 7. But I mean, Salah should have had a lot more in that game. I think he got 12 shots, which is the highest he's ever had in his Premier League career in a single match. So I was a wee bit disappointed I didn't get more points from that. But again, so I'm really happy with that. I mean, I was expecting like a red arrow. I would have taken a small red arrow this game week because I was setting myself up. But Arsenal kept a clean sheet, which kind of made the game really good for me.
Yeah, that Arsenal clean sheet is just great because people on Wildcard the majority didn't play any Arsenal defense in that game or City defense really. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we kind of called it a little bit. I did say it was going to be a pretty cagey affair potentially, and wouldn't be completely shocked with an Arsenal clean sheet. So they are the best defense in the league.
Yeah,
it's a good clean sheet, but it's not a completely shocking one. And also there weren't that many shots in the game. I mean, neither team accrued 1 XG. There were, I think, 3 saves total. I don't think either keeper got up to 3 saves.
Yeah, cause it's just it was such a big game, in terms of the title challenge. It was always going to be a nervy affair. Both teams didn't want to lose, and I think a draw was probably a good result all around for for both teams. So yeah, I guess it was one of those where I remember Ben Crellin tweeting on the Saturday that there hasn't been a 0-0 draw I don't know for so long, and I just thought if there's going to be a 0-0 draw this weekend, it's going to be that game, Arsenal City.
Yeah, I think to be fair, looking at the fixtures, it does suit both teams. I think both would have been okay with it. For City, I think looking at the fixtures, I think they probably think they can win every game, and then that would be enough to win the league. And for Arsenal, it was more a case of don't lose, and then again they probably think they can win the majority of games. I just don't see City losing many games.
It's just so close. Liverpool as well,
good win for them.
Teams. It might even go down to the last game week. Who knows?
I hope it does. I hope it does for drama and for FPL purposes. It's always good, especially for that 37 double. Want these teams to be really pushing. Okay, let's talk about your team though. What are you planning? What are your plans for this week? Because Watkins is injured, or I don't know. Is he going to be out? What do we know so far?
Well, I think after the game, Unai Emery said they're going to do a scan and they'll see how long he's out for, which kind of early indicates that he's not going to be available for City. And then with Brentford just a few days later, I mean, it's Brentford at home is a good fixture for Villa, but I mean, do you really think Watkins is going to make that fixture? I'm not sure. I mean, the only way he makes that fixture is if it wasn't a hamstring injury. I mean, if it is a hamstring injury, then within a week, it's highly unlikely that he's going to make that. So for me, Watkins is an easy sell.
Yeah, I agree.
Now Villa haven't got any double game weeks coming up either up until the end of the season. So yeah, I mean, even without the injury, Jack, I mean, if he was fully fit, I think a lot still would have sold him this week, and I would have sold him as well.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the only game that you would have played him in is the Brentford game, and he's definitely then sellable because you're going to have to sell him in 34 anyway for a doubling forward. So yeah, why not do it now? Okay, let's talk about potential replacements then. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I've already made my transfer.
Oh, you've gone.
I bought in Darwin last night. I just thought, I mean, I'm not totally convinced that Darwin starts against Sheffield United, right? For me, I'd put it at 50-50, honestly.
Wow, that low.
Yeah, because they got Man United a few days later.
Yeah,
Klopp has played Gakpo, instead of Darwin before, in between tight turnarounds. So I just think that United game, is huge, for Liverpool and for the title challenge. So that's why I'm really skeptical about his starting. But the thing is, the way my team's set up, because I've already got Mo Salah in there, and I've got Watkins who's injured and he has to go. I think it makes sense to bring in Darwin, for my team, and and I think that Sheffield United fixture at home, I think it's worth gambling on. Even if I do think he's only got 50% chance of starting, if he does start, I mean, it could be huge. Darwin's a player I'm gonna, very likely bring in soon anyway. Maybe in the game week 33 or 34 if I didn't do it this week, for his double. So I just thought, all things considered, I made the move, and there wasn't any really other moves for me to make this week, I don't think.
It's really hard to ignore that, or to kind of value the fact that he might not play over the fact that it's Sheffield United at home. It's just such a plum fixture, and there's a bit of FOMO as well. But a lot of wildcarders have Darwin, of course, and it's just if he does play, or even if he gets half an hour at the end, it's just such a good potential fixture for him to just explode in, even with limited minutes. So if you know you're going to do the move eventually, I mean, I've done that as well. I've done Watkins to Darwin already.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did. Yeah, I think it just had to be done, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just thought, I mean, even with those low minutes, I mean, I put a poll on Twitter after the Liverpool Brighton game, and I think about 70% of people think that Darwin starts
Okay.
against Sheffield United. So obviously, a lot of people are, amongst community are a lot more confident than me, and obviously, I hope they're right as well, of course.
Yeah, I just a few of my friends who are Liverpool fans are just not big fans of Gakpo at all. They just
Yeah.
I don't know if they're being a little bit harsh, but I mean, they watch every game and they just say he's just nowhere near as good as the other four forwards that they have, and that they don't want him to be in the team. So, going by that, I mean, who knows? It is an easier fixture, of course, but you got to win every fixture now.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that opinion of fans. They don't really kind of rate Gakpo, but
Yeah,
it's Sheffield United.
yeah.
I mean, Gakpo is good enough, and Liverpool are kind of good enough to put up a fairly, I would say, rotated team and still beat them very easily. But at the same time, does Klopp want to take that risk? When Arsenal and City have just drawn, and they could kind of further the lead in the title race. So
Exactly.
there's like just a balance of opinions. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Right, let's talk about potential lineup decisions that you might have this week. Keepers, Neto and Dubravka are on the same amount of predicted points.
Yeah,
I guess this
seen that.
depends for you what you're thinking with your third defender slot as well, because you've got Zabani, Taylor, and Doughty for that third slot. Would you double up on the Bournemouth defense?
I think I will, because Bournemouth are about 34% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Newcastle are like 29%. So there's a 5% difference, kind of give or take, which isn't much. But honestly, like I see last week I had Neto and a Zabani double up
Yeah.
right until the end, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna, the clean sheet odds are quite close. I'm just gonna kind of hedge them a bit, and I was so annoyed at myself because Newcastle was early kickoff, and then they ended up conceding quite early. I think this week I'm just gonna I'm 100% going for that double up on Bournemouth, because I just think, I mean, both defenses aren't great, but and both fixtures are actually quite good in terms of Everton and Palace don't score many goals, right?
Mm.
So, but I
Especially
just think,
away.
yeah, exactly, and they're both Bournemouth and Newcastle at home. But I just think at this moment in time, Newcastle's defense is much worse. So I'm just going to go with the double up. I'm going to go with the clean sheet odds for sure this week.
Yeah. I mean, even though Everton aren't a prolific attack, Newcastle are quickly running out of defenders. So, I mean, surely.
Yeah, and exactly that as well. And it's like I think there's a big kind of issue with fatigue in that team, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was more injuries. Trippier's, I think he was out last game. I don't know if he's going to be back this week, and I think Almiron got injured as well. So there's
Yeah, he played for 10
definitely
minutes.
yeah,
And then he
and
went off.
there's
Ridiculous.
definitely something going on there.
Right, let's talk about Sarabia, a player that I brought in this week. And he's got a great fixture on paper,
Yeah.
but it's impossible to play him, isn't it? Because who are you going to drop?
Exactly. And see what I was thinking about saving the transfer this week, right? And just playing Sarabia in a 3-5-2, but I just thought it was way too passive in terms of, that upside with Darwin is, that Sheffield United fixture is just too big to kind of like, too tempted to turn down really. But he's a great option. But with many of us, we've got 8 good attackers, and he's a fantastic, first sub. One of my players could miss out. We've got tight turnarounds, so I think I'm
Yeah.
really kind of happy to have a good first sub there in Sarabia, and a good double game week 34 doubler as well. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm not playing him as a great fixture. If he hauls, he hauls. I'll be happy if he gets a goal on the bench. Possibly might even need him. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, and then captaincy. I presume that you're going to go with Salah. Is there any shout for anyone else? I mean, Saka's got a great fixture. Haaland has a great fixture. You know, we used to say with Haaland not too long ago that if he's at home against pretty much anyone that he's a nailed on cap. Is it just because it's Sheffield United, or Haaland's been a little bit out of form?
No, I wouldn't say it's got to do anything with Haaland being out of form. It's just a fixture.
Okay.
Sheffield United at home, fantastic. I mean, look, Saka and Haaland are great options in their own right. And I think if you are going to deviate from Salah, if you don't have Salah, then they're the next best options. But yeah, it's just that fixture is too good. I think you've got to play the numbers, you've got to play the fixtures in front of you. And yeah, I mean, I was saying earlier as well, it's not only like Liverpool's best fixture of the season, it's probably one of the best fixtures they've had in the last few years. When you're looking at how poor the team is. So yeah, I can't see past Salah this week.
Okay. I think that's going to do it for your team then. We've had a few comments and tweets and stuff asking about Game Week 31 wildcard drafts and how they might differ from Game Week 30 wildcards. I mean, I think that some Game Week 30 wildcarders have got very unlucky with their defense in particular.
Yeah.
Gusto, the injury looks potentially serious. Lascelles obviously is out for a long time.
Yeah.
Ake as well got picked up an injury. So, I mean, a few people had all those three. What would you say for first of all players for managers that have those injured players? Maybe Gusto, because we're not sure about him as much as Lascelles, and Lascelles is a transfer out of course down the line. And then if you were on wildcard, what would your optimal defense be?
I mean, I think for those who wildcarded last week, like and you've got a few injured players, I think you just have to kind of wait it out, because I think guys like Gusto, we've not had an update on them. And he's really cheap, and he's got 2 doubles coming up. So, of course, I think you keep him. With guys like Lascelles, if you want those cheap players who are out for the season, that's obviously going to be a problem. But generally, I don't think the game week. I'm not wildcarding in these weeks, so I haven't really looked into it. But from what kind of I've seen, I don't think there's much difference between a game week 30 and a game week 31 wildcard. I just think it was better to go with a game week 30 wildcard, because like the Chelsea had a great fixture. Spurs had a great fixture, against Luton. So I think generally you're probably bringing in similar players, but maybe less Spurs players. I mean, I guess, you'd probably only have Son there, with a view to move him on in Game Week 34. But generally, I don't think there's much difference between them, because whether you're on a Game Week 31 or 30 wildcard, you're very likely going to go down the same kind of chip strategy, which would probably be a free hit in 34. And a bench boost in 37. So you're going to be targeting the same players.
There you go. I think that's going to do it for this, my friend. Anything that we might have missed?
No, I don't think so. I think we're fairly covered well. I think hopefully there's no rotation.
It's tight turnaround.
Yeah. Next to game weeks in the space of 5 days. So we're going to see, I guess, teams like City, I guess Liverpool, I think rest. Not mass rotation, but there's going to be a few surprises in there for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, transfer already done. So that's it. Pretty easy. Yeah. Easy last 24 hours for you, or last 48 hours before the deadline. Pretty chilled.
Yeah, I love making early transfer. Well, not. I like making an early transfer, because you just relax for the week and you don't have to think about it again. You just kind of switch off. So it's good to do that, but it doesn't happen very often.
I think it's nice when there's such a short turnaround and no midweek games, and that I mean, who knows, something could happen, but it's unlikely when we have this short of a turnaround, and the players you're transferring out are injured anyway. So it's not too much can go wrong. All right, cheers as always, Abdul. Thanks guys for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Good luck this game week.